This document makes me think that the CIA went to an underground military base where they were reverse engineering alien aircraft. Let's get into it. Now, if you want to pause to read the entire document, go for it, but I want to point out a few things to you on each page. The first thing being right over here, it says T0940-1058. Those are coordinates, and we're going to get into where the coordinates take us to, but let's go through what our remote viewers saw first, okay? On this first page, he's talking about how it's definitely a government-controlled facility. It's a very sterile facility, and at least a portion of this area is closed in by Earth, so underground. Now, right here, he says there's a great deal of manipulation of objects, exchanging items, replacing things, testing, storage. The next thing I want to point out to you is he says the activity deals with high energy or potentially high energy. These are the impression of scientific research with strong government intent. And then he goes on to mention that he gets the impression that the failures have far outweighed the successes, and there's a particular concept of a rebound effect going on with these. It says right here, portions of the site are very dark and shadowy, and there are large areas of Earth that have been humanly manipulated. At least a portion of the site is closed in, gives one the impression of having rock or soil overhead on one side with a wide open expanse on the other side. There is a sense of controlled movement within this latter area. And then he goes on to describe basically shipping containers that are backed up end to end, and they go in this large circular movement as they spiral down into this large circular hole. Now, whatever is connecting these storage containers is underground and out of view inside of this hole, so our remote viewer moves on down into the hole. As he moves down into the hole, he sees flashes of blue from these containers. So flashes of blue from these high energy vehicles or weapons or whatever they're working on down there. Once he gets down into the hole, he sees a passageway leading off to a second larger hole. So he moves on down there. Once he's into that hole, he sees a larger circle, which inside of it sits several monuments. He sees a large parallel curved object that comes to a point at the end. Now, once he gets deeper in this hole, he sees many more objects. The first is a tall four-sided object with a pointed four-side apex that extends upward from the series of square-shaped steps or levels, so some type of like platform with this object on top of it. And coming out of the top of this object is some type of blue beam, some type of energy coming out the top of it. While he's in this particular area, he feels frightened, he feels uneasy, he's ready to move on. The second feature are several large slanted tubes with fog coming out of the ends, and as the fog comes out of the end, it drops down into a lower level. Now he notices that these tubes are sitting on something that appears to be solid, but is hollow on the inside, some like transfer through these tubes, right? He sees a third smaller area that appears to be like a storage area. He says it appears to be the final step in the process. And then a fourth area of festivity where people are excited and yelling good. I don't know, it kind of sounds like a bar or a pub to me underground, so I'm not really sure what that all is about. Now, this is how he describes the outside of this area. This is the overhead view. So you're looking at like a solid rock formation, but it's hollow on the inside. And then it has a entrance down into hollow earth. And go ahead and pause to read if you want to look at all the notes. These are all the shipping containers that he saw backed up one to another, circling down into this hole. Remember that creepy object that we talked about that had the 4 points and energy coming out of the top of it sitting on a platform? This is the drawing of it. This is what he saw. And these are the tubes with the fog coming out. See how the fog is dropping down into a lower area? And you can see right here, this area is lower and out of sight. Now this is the area that the pipes were sitting on. You can see it's thick, but there's also a hollow chamber inside of it and a passageway at the bottom. Assuming this is as he enters the dark hole where all the storage units circle down into. So this is just the dark hollow area as he moves farther down. And this is one of the many monuments that he saw as he moved farther and farther down underground. Now, when you go to Google Earth and you put in those coordinates that we were talking about in the very beginning, it takes you to Nigeria. And here's a fun fact. Africa has the least amount of alien sightings anywhere in the world. Is that because they have secret access and underground tunnels to and from Africa, so we're never going to see them there?